Hey Siri, who are you? Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Siri Talks Back. I'm your host, Srinika Siri Kanaganti, and welcome to my podcast. So, I'm guessing that you're wondering why I decided to call this Siri Talks Back, and the reason why is because you know artificial intelligence Siri, like the one on your iPhone? Well, I felt like I kind of resembled her a little bit, like how I respond to people and just the way I talk, so I decided to call it Siri Talks Back. Like, how would Siri respond if you asked her a question? And as you heard earlier, today's question is Siri, who are you? So, as I said earlier, my name is Siri, and I'm 13-year-old who's in 8th grade studying here in California, Sacramento to be specific, and I love the arts. Oh, and also I have a podcast. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why an 8th grader has their own podcast, and honestly, it would baffle me too, so understandable. So, I'm here to explain that to you. And oh my god, it's gonna be the best answer you ever heard in the history of answers. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. No idea. Yeah, that's right. I have absolutely no idea why I was given a podcast, and I think that that's the beauty of all of it. Like, just jumping into this without being given like a cue or anything like catch me if I fall. I'd say it's like skydiving without a parachute, honestly, because it's really fun and it's exhilarating and it's like an amazing experience, but there's no like guarantee that I'm gonna fall like perfectly. But I guess that's kind of up to you guys. Okay, don't take that the wrong way, but I just love what I'm doing, but there's just no guarantee that's gonna be like, I don't know, a professional like Dive Studios podcast. Also, if you watch Dive Studios, I love you. Anyways, so let's do a little bit of an introduction, I guess. So, as I told you earlier, I study right here in California, and I'm a middle schooler. So, let's talk about my interests, because I guess that's what people ask when you give an introduction. Anyways, I personally love the arts. Like, I love singing, dancing, acting, performing, all those amazing things. And I always have loved them since I was like, I'd say 3, maybe. But I have such a strong passion for them. But yeah, I know there's always like a but in amazing situations. That's just reality. So yeah. Anyways, unfortunately, I did research, like I'd say about a year ago, and I found out that honestly, people in the arts don't get paid as much as they deserve to, and there's no like clear path, there aren't proper opportunities, and it just deserves so much more advocacy, and it really needs to receive that. So because of that, not my self-esteem, but I was worried that I wouldn't be able to pursue my passion and still be financially stable and have financial freedom and just in general be financially independent. So because of that, I started going into business and marketing and finance, which I honestly do like. And that's what I love about this podcast. It's that I get to combine everything. Like the art of having a podcast itself is something that I can talk about, and it is an art, like media and editing it, and then also the business and the marketing behind it. Like, I don't specifically market my podcast towards my viewers, and I'm really open about it because you could say I'm a young'un, but I'm just really open about like what goes on in my podcast. So I don't necessarily market it, but just the idea of having like a business or honestly any product just interests me so much. And if you're watching this, then I hope you enjoy it as well. So, I didn't expect to actually, you know, participate in a podcast episode for the first episode, but here we go. So, as I said earlier, the arts really deserve so much more advocacy, and I really hope that they receive it. Because if I'm just like one person on this, not even on this planet, not even on this continent, just in this area, in this studio, who worries about her future because of the lack of advocacy and opportunities and funding towards the arts, then honestly, there's like, I'd say 99.9% of the world left who also has the same worries as me. So we really need to advocate more for the arts, because I was very lucky to have been given this wonderful opportunity by the gracious Studio T and Miss T herself, who I still am so mesmerized by every time I talk to her. And I'm so grateful that I got this, but so many other people who really have a strong passion, and maybe they even care about the arts more than me. I don't know. But there are so many people out there who have such stronger passions for arts, and they don't have the things they need to be able to go succeed, and I really hope that they deserve them, which is why we need to advocate for the arts. Like, it's not a joke. Like, I get that everything needs to be advocated for, but the arts are like, they supply so much income to our economy. They help us in so many ways. They help us feel better mentally, physically, and they add, like I said, they boost our economy so much, and honestly they contribute to basically everything you can name. Like, if you just think of an object, a person, or just like your style of living, there will be tons of arts included in it. So we really need to support them more, the arts. And yeah, that was my TED Talk, I guess. So moving on to the next introduction question. What do you want to be when you grow older? So personally, I honestly love hearing this question, because what I find so interesting is that people who, okay, this doesn't apply to everyone, but a lot of times people who seem really introverted or shy will like say that they want to do, it's not complicated, but a position, like a job position in which you have to be like really confident and like not necessarily, but just kind of be social with others and talk to them a lot in order to help you grow. And they always say that they like those, and it just interests me so much that their like quiet nature enjoys something so big and social. Speaking of social, I'm a very social person, and I honestly just love talking to people, which is why I'm talking to a camera right now, filming my podcast. Oh, I never answered the first question. Well, what I want to be when I grow older is, like I said, I had that troubling story with the arts about how I felt that I wouldn't be able to support myself properly when I got older. So I want to do something. Honestly, I'd say this podcast is a perfect job for me. Like, if it were an actual job, cuz I get to combine like speaking, editing, all that fun stuff, while also, if I had my own business, like running it, finding marketing for you guys to watch it, etc. And I feel like that's just such a beautiful thing. Like, everything in the arts is lovely, but this is what I find like particularly breathtaking. All right. Anyways, I guess we should move on to my hobbies. As I said, and this is like the third time I'm repeating this, I do love the arts. So my hobbies are just practicing them, and I also do work really hard to come up with ideas for this podcast so that it's enjoyable for you guys. And I don't really imagine any other person my age doing an exact podcast, but I do imagine like a lot of people doing stuff like this. So I just not necessarily want to compete with them, but I don't want to be incompetent compared to them. You got to keep up with the world, and that's what I like about how it works. Like, I remember my dad telling me about how when the world moves, you have to move with it, and I feel like that's really true. So thank you for moving with me and watching this podcast episode. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you'll stick around for more. Thank you so much. Goodbye. And once again, this is Siri's podcast.